Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Life Theories. Today it is just Diana and I, Diana from Trailblazers of the Universe, and myself, Big Soul Healing. And we're going to talk with you guys today. Hopefully, Jay will pop on for a little bit later. But today's chat, we wanted to talk a little bit about the aftermath of stepping away from toxic patterns, what that looks like, what that feels like, how to deal with it, how we've been dealing with it, and just what it looks like to step outside of your comfort zone, release toxic patterns, and how to move forward once you've taken the steps to do these things. So, yeah, let's get into it, Diana. Why don't you get us going here? You've been stepping out of a lot of comfort zones lately, so why don't you share with us what's been going on?
Well, all of us on the crew, even Jay's coming up, we all been in toxic situations, whether it's toxic living environment, toxic lifestyle, toxic relationships, right? Toxic jobs, we're all going through different things. So now we moved on to better environments. We've all of us have made some kind of change, whether it's doing more inner work, whether it's moving to a different environment. That was me. Maybe it's getting out of a relationship, someone else on the show, and so now it's like, and that's great. We should give ourselves credit. We had an awareness that was a pattern, and we made a different choice. We followed our intuition, even though it's a little uncomfortable outside of our comfort zone, outside what we're used to. We did break a negative pattern. It could even be karmic pattern in some cases, which a little bit of both, I think. Mm-hmm. And then you get to the next level, and then you feel good. You made that change, and then it's kind of like, now what? So then you get to the environment, or you're at the new place, you made the change, which is a big step, but then it's like, now what? So, yeah. And then there's a whole new set of challenges, because even this is outside of your comfort zone. Even though it's more peaceful, you feel more stable, it's still not really, you're not used to it. You're used to chaos, you're used to whatever patterns you have going on before, and now it's requiring you to continue making choices as a new version, right? And doing the next level of inner work, which some of us might think, oh, what can be harder than what I just went through? But you were more comfortable in that kind of stuff. So even though that was good that you broke out of that, and it was a big change, there's still a whole new set of challenges, because you're being a completely different person that you've never been before. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say double-edged sword, but kind of like there's a whole new set of challenges and being uncomfortable, and it's like continuing to make choices that are like that. And I think it's going deeper into the shadows, like into your shadow work, actually. Because when you have that, yeah, especially the stuff that you're doing, and then it's because it'll bring out more limiting beliefs, like, oh, do I deserve this? Oh, this is not familiar. And then you'll want to self-sabotage it. Sometimes you'll find yourself doing behaviors or thinking thoughts or feelings that kind of would bring you back to where you were at before. So it's just continuing to be aware of that and just continue, accept it. You don't have to resist it. Just, oh, you're aware that that's coming up, and then you just make a different choice, make a different choice, make a different choice. That's how I got out of addiction. That's how I got out of some of the negative relationship patterns I had in the past. It's just like, but I made a short on this the other day. I said awareness is the first step. You're aware of it. You're aware it's a pattern. You're already way ahead of the game. A lot of people are stuck in the programming or not aware of the patterns. They're just, I don't want to say NPC, but kind of just going through like a cycle. And I went through that through my addiction too. It's like I wasn't even aware. I think that, oh, that's the way I'm supposed to live, and I was just, my mind was taken over by something else. But
you kind of end up on autopilot, right? Like, so when you're in those toxic situations, you're in survival mode, you're in autopilot, you're just doing the next best thing to keep yourself safe, keep yourself feeling comfortable, familiar with what's going on, even in the unfamiliar situations. And it's really difficult because we can actually become addicted to the chemicals that get released in our bodies from those situations. So when you are leaving a toxic situation, it can be that much harder to be on top of not falling back into those old habits and patterns and not going back to the way things used to be, just because your body is screaming for those situations that would create stress in your life to get those stress hormones released because your body's actually addicted to them. So without even realizing it, you could just be going to pick fights with strangers or getting mad at somebody at the coffee shop just because your body is used to that.
Yeah.
Say when say you had like a toxic living environment where someone would come home at 3 o'clock every single day and start yelling at you. You might not realize that, but subconsciously your mind, your body is addicted to that. You're
Yeah.
addicted to that shoot of I'm getting yelled at now. I'm full of adrenaline and cortisol, and your body is looking for that every day at 3 o'clock, expecting that for that person to come in the door, and you're bracing yourself, but your body's waiting for that because that's what it's used to, and you're trying to retrain it away from that. So it's about having that extra step of awareness and being like, oh, maybe I'm flying off the handle because my body's used to stress and I'm no longer in that environment. So, what can I give my body to calm down and realize that I am safe without being yelled at every day at 3 o'clock? Or, because your body gets so comfortable with what's happening, even though it's a toxic or bad situation, that it gets hard to break out of that. So just to have that little extra step of or level of awareness when you do leave a toxic situation or you do start to break these patterns, just knowing that your body is going to be looking for that and giving yourself the grace and the leeway to and patience with yourself to like get through it without falling back to the old patterns and realizing that I don't need to fly off the handle. This is just my body looking for that cortisol
Yeah.
release. Like I don't need to get upset right now, and just checking in with yourself and making sure that the actions and like responses and reactions that you're putting out are based in what's actually happening and not in the trauma your body's expecting to happen. That's not going to happen anymore because you're not in that toxic situation anymore. So
And
yeah.
sometimes you'll
Um,
like create it, and sometimes you're sometimes when you're used to it, you'll find a weird thing that you're like reacting to or trying to cause drama or like getting all like tense about. I've noticed that happen with me because it's like I feel like I'm trying to create some kind of toxicity or like that rush or something. So like, but it's all about being aware of it. It's okay. It's not. Sometimes we beat ourselves up. We're like, oh, I can't believe I'm still acting like this. I'm going backwards. You're not going backwards. You made a big change. You're shifting to a different version. So you're aware of it and you're saying, oh, I see what's going on. Just like you said, well, but I don't need to keep feeding it. And once you stop feeding it, it will eventually, the need will go away. But the more you keep feeding it, the drama, the toxicity, the chaos, the more your body's going to crave it. And it's like a chemical. It's the cortisol. It's all that stuff. So I noticed that myself, and I do catch it. And sometimes it's like rewiring, just redirecting. That's all it is. Hi, Jay.
Hey Jay.
yeah, how you going? What I've gone through, I've had to rewire my brain, and it's amazing that I think with what helped me out with the toxicity and getting out of the toxic situation is actually getting some awareness within my head of what's going on. Because I think as human beings, we definitely want an answer. Um, so what happened with me was I did all my my work, talked to my people and all those kind of things. And when I found out, I spent well, people meeting you guys as well. So you're directly involved in this. But once I found out and admitted where I was at, I think that really really helped because then I could actually find out for me what the situation was, and then I can I could react a particular way. I could sort of what's the word for it? I was actually easier for me to actually change the processes in my head. So I've gone, okay, this is what's happened. This is how it is. I can accept that. Now what we're going to do is move on with the way that I'm going to react. And you were talking about toxic the cortisol and all that in your body. I think that's because we're at a position where or for me, was finding out exactly how and why we react that way. Okay, why it was a pattern for me. So I worked on that. So that was a deep seated man, that went down to the depths of bloody all hell when it came out. That was deep, dark shit. Which was a good thing because it actually I feel a lot lighter after I released it. And I think as people we have to actually look at why we react that way. Well, what's the deep seated reason we react that way? There's nothing wrong with it in my way, but there's also you've got to basically sort yourself out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, like leaving these toxic patterns too. Like there's always an aftermath and there's always like a transitional period
Yeah.
of like, okay, this
Definitely.
is where I was at, this is where I want to be. I'm no longer in the place that I was. I haven't fully gotten to the exact place that I want to be and how to get there without completely losing your shit, basically.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's
What
it
is
can
yeah.
it can be really hard, right? Like you're so used to you become really accustomed and used to like these toxic situations and toxic patterns. And like I
I
said
think that's what
before,
it is, Sarah. That's what you're saying. Like,
mm,
yeah, you're used to it. Your pattern goes, I'm used to this stuff. You know what I mean? This is what happens. But I
you're
think if you look at the behavior behind it, um, you look at the behavior and look at a pattern that has happened because I believe obviously we know the universe puts these situations in front of us because we have to release in some way. We'll keep coming back. The lesson will keep coming back until we're into a situation where we're actually unlock the bloody cage to the bloody hell that's in our hearts or in our souls, which is what pretty much happened with me. And after I released it and actually accepted what the freaking heck happened, it was a lot easier to work out. And then you can work like you said when we had our session, you stuff that said, I am perfect and beautiful as I am. You can now accept that. Instead of saying you're a bloody, useless piece of shit or whatever you want to, whatever it was,
Yeah.
yeah,
you totally believe I am perfect and beautiful as I am.
yeah.
That's the
And
way,
it's hard
that's what it is.
yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around that or even start to believe that when you're in a toxic situation because toxic
Mm,
situations lead your subconscious to believe that you're not worthy of anything and you're not perfect the way you are and everything fucking stinks. And
absolutely.
when you're in that mindset, if everything fucking stinks, then you must fucking stink. And you know what I mean? So it's just this cycle of if this is what my reality, I must deserve this. And getting yourself to a point of knowing, that you do deserve more. And sometimes that transitional period after you've left the toxic environment and you're now in something stable, your body will and your mind everything it can to try to sabotage that
Yeah.
because
Yep.
it's not comfortable and it doesn't feel safe even though you are safe because you've grown
Yeah.
so accustomed to toxicity. Safety no longer feels safe to you and you'll subconsciously start behaving in ways that will bring you back to the toxicity
Yeah.
because that's what your
Because that's
whole
normal. It's like a
energy
barometer
that's
or a
normal to you.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what's right. It's what your brain thinks is safe only because that's what's actually familiar. Just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's safe. And
Mm.
it's about training your mindset away from that. It's like, yes, this is comfortable because I know it, and it feels safe to me, but I know in my heart that being talked to this way is not safe. Being treated this way is not safe. Being, told specific things that aren't true and being in a situation I can't trust isn't actually safe. Just because I'm used to it doesn't mean I'm safe. And being able to, Jay, you look like you're stuck on Frozen. But yeah, just
Frozen.
because you're,
Frozen. Wow. We'll go into that. I'll tell you a funny
you
story about
look like you
Frozen.
were frozen time for a minute there. I was like, is Jay's screen frozen or is he just sitting like that?
No, I'm really tired. No, it's all right. It's all good. That's funny.
You had like the duck lips going on. I'm just like, what's going on over there? I'm like trying to
The
stay
rest
on.
is tired.
It's good for a laugh. I love it.
Oh, well, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. That's one of the things I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's part of leaving toxicity, man. Like sometimes you just gotta laugh it
Yeah.
out and be like, I put myself in that situation. Now
Yeah.
it's time to get out. And, just finding the joy and humor in it because, there is usually something in these situations that you can look at yourself and laugh. Maybe not right
Yeah.
away, but after, you know. But
Well, I
there's
think,
always,
look, I think you have to because, we've
yeah,
all gone through it, what we're doing. I might as well give a little plug to. I'll be on another podcast in the next hour or two with Jackie Lyons. We're doing our Earth Angel, Earth Warrior Twin Flame podcast,
That's awesome.
and I think that's a big thing in life where we've all gone through it. Even the big fella, we're all through it. I've just joined the crew, as we know. Oh shit!
you're a twin flame.
But I tell you what, you look at it logically, and the deepest, darkest secrets and fears and everything that you've been brought up with as a young child. And also, can you hear me properly? Because I've got a new mic.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
it's good.
okay? Cool. Just checking. Just checking. Yeah, it's a new lapel mic. Um, yeah, I think that I've grown in the last couple. Yeah, mate. Just the way I'm reacting, and I think you have more confidence in yourself. I think people have to actually step through that forbidden door. I call it the forbidden door, ladies and gentlemen, because it's the forbidden door that you're always in that. Say you're in a dark place, for example, with your darkest secrets or darkest fears or whatever it may be. When the universe actually gives you the door to open, you've actually got to walk through it. And walking through it into that light could be the freaking scariest thing you've ever bloody did. Or even jumping off a cliff. I remember in Tarzan when he took the leap of faith to go and find Margot Robbie and all that. It's really funny that resonates with me because that's the jump you take when you actually open up the forbidden door and go, oh, hang on, I'm letting this stuff out. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And at least you've got the support. Like I had you guys and my people. You've got to have that support to actually go through it too.
Yeah. Yeah, support is a big thing too. Like when you're transferring out of these situations, it's really good to, even if you just have one person that you can check in with and be super honest with about what's going on for you. Because when these things come up, like, hey, I'm noticing, like, now that I'm out of this situation, like, every day around this time, like, I'm starting to get really agitated and I'm not sure why. And like, just being able to, like, talk about what you're going through because a lot can come up in your body mind and like because your
Mm.
body holds on to these traumas and these thoughts and these beliefs and can create all kinds of different things in your body like disease and discomfort and pain and like chronic illness, right? So when we're leaving a toxic situation, all of this stuff can get stuck in your body mind and unprocessed, undiscussed, unlet go of um, fears, feelings, emotions. It can really start to bog you down. So to have somebody on your side that you can really open up with is like
Oh,
absolutely
mate.
key when you're trying to
Um,
leave a toxic situation and when you're trying to start fresh and start new in a situation away from that toxicity.
I
So yeah, it's absolutely key. Like if you don't have somebody like that when you're leaving these
go
situations,
find somebody, get somebody.
find
Look,
find somebody, whether it be a sister, a brother, a
oh,
cousin, somebody that you work with, even like just find somebody that you
Even
feel like
therapy
you
if you need to. There's certain
yeah,
therapists that
yeah,
are good, man. It
there's
get
helps.
there like
somebody.
find a therapist. Like some people can't afford that, but I know there's free helplines too,
Yeah.
like that you can call as
Oh,
well.
look, ladies,
There's
I'm telling you right now, I am that grateful for the amount of people that put up with my bloody shit. I can't believe I look back at the way I was and I saw how traumatized I was because I knew exactly. I am so grateful for you guys. I can run off a few people, but I am so grateful for that. My God, and ladies and gentlemen, if anyone thinks you're an idiot for bloody absolutely spewing your guts out every 5 minutes for it, it is part of the healing because people want to talk about it. I've got a friend of mine I'm doing that at the moment with. She's going through what I went through. And I can really appreciate, she goes, oh, I'm really sorry about bringing you down. He goes, how can you bring me down? You can't because this is what people want. They need someone to talk to. You can't. And
yeah.
if, people go, if people go, I'm sick of hearing it. Okay, but then then it comes to a point where they have understood, right? They're there for you. But also remember, ladies and gentlemen, that I will say there comes a point where you have to stop talking about it and doing something about it. And that's what I did. Like I did that where I was in that situation. I talked about it. I knew what was going on. It was doing my head in, la da da, but I did actually understand it, what was going on. And I went and talked to my therapist and all those kind of things. And, mate, I can't tell you how good it is, but the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have someone that you can fully trust, and that's the hardest thing. I've got so many, I can't believe it. I've got 2 on the line now, and I'm blessed to have all these beautiful people in my life. So get those happening. I can tell you right now, that's critical if you can do it. If you don't have anyone, you got to get someone. You know, you will sit in there and you will rock back and forth. I'll tell you right now, it can drive you absolutely bonkers. So yeah, but anyway, just wanted to say that.
A therapist, a wellness coach, like somebody that you can open up with that understands this. And if you are going through like relieving yourself of a toxic situation, whether it was abusive, like verbally or physically, like find somebody that understands trauma to talk to if you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big thing, because talking about it is amazing. And it's so helpful to talk with just friends and somebody that you love and care about, but being able to speak to somebody that understands trauma, how to process and release trauma is really crucial as well.
Here's the key word, Sarah. Sorry, can I just cut you off there? The key point is releasing and doing something about it. There's a point where you can talk about it too much, and that's fair. But it's talking about when we go, I can. Then you've got to do. You have to when you
it's getting out of the victim mode. It's like kind of getting out of the victim because there's a line. Yeah.
Like
that's exactly right.
If you're thinking about leaving a toxic situation, and I know we've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, it's good. Like, it's really good to, have that type of support behind you if you're thinking about it. And like when you're talking to your friends about it, it's one thing to continually talk about it and release it. But if you're not taking action or listening to your friends' advice, you're perpetuating your own toxic situation. You're actually making it grow and making it bigger, because now you're bringing more people into the toxicity. You're letting them know what's happening, but you're not doing anything to protect yourself from it.
That's and now
you're spreading it out, because now you are making other people aware of it. You're bringing them into the information. You're bringing them into that energy.
It can drain them too.
It can drain them. It can actually really hurt the people that you care about. So if you're thinking about it and you're going through stuff and you keep telling your friends the same thing over and over again, man, I'm just so concerned about this relationship. I don't know what to do. This person is doing this, and I don't know how to feel about it. And you keep coming to your friends with the same old bullshit. That's fine, but eventually there needs to be some action, because you are only going to perpetuate your toxic situation and make it grow by bringing more people in and not doing anything to stop it. So just try to be very aware of that. I know we all hit points where we're afraid to make that move to relieve ourselves from the toxicity. And I know, Jay, you were going through that a little bit too. Like, Diana and I had to put our foot down with you to be like, we've said it all to you before, mate. We fucking love you, but now you have to make the action. And you did.
And you should be proud of yourself. That's really good. I know it's tough. It ain't easy. That ain't easy at all. I know that.
It's not fucking easy. And like, I can see how much your head was
it was exactly
right? By perpetuating the problem to your friends, but then not doing anything about it. You knew it needed to be done, but all you did was talk about it. And
I think at the point of that time was,
eventually you got to that place where, you're like, guys, I did something, and we were super proud of you. And it's like, do your best to not turn your back on the friends that just keep talking about it, but also as the person going through the toxic situation, do your best to not take too long to make that action. If you know it's toxic enough to start talking to your friends about it, you can now take action to do something about it. The first step
I
is
think
expressing what you're going through, but then you have to do something, or else it's just going to make it worse for literally
that's
everyone.
right. In my situation, just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, what happened was I think what it was, because mine was that, as I said to you, I opened up Pandora's box. Now, to understand what Pandora's box is, ladies and gentlemen, Pandora's box is the deepest, darkest secrets you could ever think of within you, that your those patterns from your inner child. Okay, so there we go. Really, we're talking deep shit here. So, going through a point where it was having an understanding this was supposed to happen, then you go through heartbreak, mate. You're going through heartbreak because the situation will break your heart, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So you understand that, but then you have, as the girl said, you still got to, which I did anyway. I had the formulas how to work with it, but I had to understand also. People won't do anything because they don't. I'll be honest with you. I think people don't really either don't want to go there, or they don't know what it is. Like, I'm speaking to a friend of mine at the moment. She's going through it, but she doesn't know. I said to her, look at you. And that's all I've told her. You can talk as much as you like about it, no problem. And she understands it, but she doesn't know what it is that's holding her back. Okay, it's deep. Something's happening on repeat. Something's happening on repeat. Got to go in deep and find. She goes, okay. You're exactly right. But I think there's a process of it, and it's great to have people like these two lovely ladies here, which friends for life, grateful, whatever, however you want to put it, they got you through. So yeah. Di, you went through yours, obviously without us being around. How did you go with yours? I might as well just, if that's okay to talk about. How did you have a look at what you've got now? I'm absolutely, mate, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. I'm so proud of what you've done. Really, you should. And even Sarah, I see that. Well, I know what you went through. You know, you've gone through it too, and I see. Look. You have a look at them both now, and it's white light around them. We all know we've grown, and I know you two have grown so much. I know this. I know how you guys both were in the situation. How did you, when you found out? What was that feeling of relief, and how did you, when you found out, when you stepped forward? How did it feel for you guys?
Depends on what. Well, are you talking about like me moving, or are you talking about like addiction, or like?
Oh no, I'm just saying within you found something within you. You unlocked the gate in your heart,
in both cases,
child, and you made that change. So the movie was the action, but how did it feel when you actually gone, this is what I've got to do? How did it feel for you? Because I know I gone, rightio, holy shit, rightio, let's just do it, go for it, you know.
Well, I think you get to a point where this is the same thing goes with the addiction. How the same thing goes with even me moving out of a toxic environment, toxic people, all that stuff. Just eventually, you just get sick of suffering, feeling so much misery, even though you're probably addicted to it in some kind of way. It's just like eventually, just like enough's enough, and you know you're meant for greater. You know it's like,
it takes a lot of strength, doesn't it? Like,
it takes a lot, but it's also surrender, and it takes strength to surrender because you're resisting, because that's your old you, that's your old programming, your beliefs, your behaviors that have been ingrained in you for years, and then it goes back to unworthiness, right? Like, it goes back to childhood. There's so many different things, so it's, you just eventually, enough's enough. I think when you suffer enough, sometimes you do get to a point you just surrender. It's kind of like you got nothing else to lose, and you're like, but sometimes it's also having a glimpse of the future. Like, you see what it could be like if sometimes you tap in sometimes, whether it's through meditation, whether it's you get a glimpse of something that could happen or something sparks you, right? Where it's like, you see the potential. If I did go this way, you see maybe you have some kind of spiritual gift or some kind of talent or something that really ignites you, that gives you some passion. For me, it's like creating content, but other things, and I'm like, oh, I wonder where else this could go. I'm like, man, this kind of sucks doing this stuff, suffering all the time, feeling like shit, and just going through that cycle mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. But it just you see a glimpse, a spark of something, or maybe even someone says something that inspires you. You know, it can come from anywhere, or we just get the downloads, right? And
Good
and
old
I
downloads.
and look, well, a good example is even when I created my Trailblazers of the Universe YouTube channel name 2 years before I got content up. When I was in a state where I was going through my addiction, and I was probably even under the influence, and I had the idea. I got this download, Trailblazers of the Universe. I don't know why I had this spark, and I always did want to do a YouTube channel, right? I had something like clicked there, and I wrote down. I created the channel. I didn't upload content till 2 years later, but I knew there was something there with that. I got like a glimpse of something. I don't know if it was my spirit guides giving me something, or I got a download that there was something more. And I did go back into my old patterns, but I knew it. I had some kind of vision. You know, when you tap in a little bit, even though I was in a bad state, that kind of gave me something. Or even just seeing something you get excited about, right? Maybe when you're talking about a certain subject or something you're passionate about, it's like, oh, what if I followed this? And, you know, this feels way better than that. It's a lot of it was just getting glimpses of, or just feeling better for a little bit. Sometimes you actually feel stable for a little bit when you're going through addiction, when you're going through whatever, or you find a moment where you have joy or happy, and you're like, oh, I could be like this more often. You know, I don't. It's like a lot of those little moments, and then they add up, and then you just kind of surrender. But it also sometimes it just makes you so uncomfortable to the point where you have to change, because it's literally like a pot about to boil, right? Well, all the pressure, and I mean, we're all divinely guided too, you know. So you do get signs of synchronicities, things like that you're thought about, and then you get synchronicity that you can't even explain to anyone else.
Numbers.
It's only like relevant to you. It's special to you, and you're like, oh, I should go this way. And then when you take little steps towards that, something good happens, or it's almost like you get encouragement. So it's like a mix of things. A mix
It's
of all
really
those
trusting
things.
in the universe, isn't it? It's really
Yeah,
trusting that, like, the universe go, okay, I'm with you, but you've got to walk through this door. I'm going to
yeah,
hold your hand.
yeah.
You've got to walk through this door, and yeah, you get these, and then mate, I think it's like, as I said, Doctor Strange. I keep talking about Doctor Strange, but that's exactly why. If you watch that, that's pretty much how you get through a difficult time. You have a look deep down into that movie, the way he lost his hands. He had everything. He thought he had everything, but he really didn't. And he lost his hands. And then he had to had a rebirth, didn't he? And and then obviously he became Doctor Strange, which is probably one of the most powerful superheroes out. But you see the spiritual journey that he's had, you know. So yeah, Sarah, what do you think? Because you've been through it. We'll call it, whether it be twin flame or whatever it is, whatever you want to discuss. But we all gone through it. How do you feel about it?
Oh man. Well, with me,
Because you're over it too. Well, we're not over it, but you've done a wonderful job.
what should say I'm
Yeah, I
over
know.
it.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
well, right
Yeah.
now, you know, like what I'm noticing in my own journey right now is dealing with the shame and the guilt that's coming up for allowing myself to keep myself sick for so long, and allowing myself to um like I know better. And like there's a part of me that, like, with what I'm going through right now, it's a little bit different than like leaving a toxic situation, but it's leaving a toxic physical
Mm.
sensation, basically.
Yeah.
So
Um,
you've gone through that forbidden door, and now you're
yeah,
sort of
like
on the
I've gone
other
through
side of
it,
it. Now
like
you're
even
doing
leaving other toxic situations, like it's even with my twin flame, like I had a lot of shame and a lot of guilt leaving that whole situation because it was fucking wrong. I shouldn't have done that, like, at all.
no, but you reacted the way you want to react.
Did
It's
it
the
for
case of
4 years. Like I was doing things, like it's talking about my twin flame. Like I was doing things that it was me, but it wasn't me. And it was like I wasn't. These aren't my morals and values. This isn't how I am as a person. Like what the fuck is wrong with me? And this whole last year, like I've just been
excuse me.
realizing that I actually, because while it was happening, I didn't have any shame. I didn't have any guilt. Like it was just like, whatever, I'm just doing it. And this is just the way that this is. I'm fine with it. It is what it is. This is our relationship. And yeah, when it took a little while for it to hit me too, like just processing the amount of shame and guilt that comes up for allowing yourself to behave in these ways and perpetuate the toxicity, and like allowing myself to just go so far away from my own morals and values to assist in making somebody else happy. Like, and feeling so guilty and so shameful that that's how I spent the last 4 years of my life, was like with this person who
Yeah.
literally just wrote me off and acts now that I don't even exist, won't even acknowledge his part in hurting me and leading me down this path, and like putting me
Because
down.
you
Like,
understand why. You understand now
I
why.
get,
I mean, I'm
I
going through it.
understand now why all of this happened, but I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat this. Like, I'm still processing shame and guilt from that.
Yep.
Like, and that was over a year ago. That was a year and 3 months, I guess, or like, no, a year, and I guess that happened last February, is like when that ended. So, like, I've still been processing that. And that shame and that guilt also trickles over to me not following through on my healing practices and being like, you should be further along by now. You should be here by now. You should be totally healed by now with everything that you know. Why aren't you? And like just feeling shame and guilt around not practicing as much as I should, not allowing myself to go as deep into my practices. Like knowing how badly I want to be free of specific situations, knowing what I need to do it, and then just not doing it, and feeling that shame and that guilt. And like that's a big part of why I haven't really been putting myself out there as much, like with my messages and my stories and like all of my social media, like videos and things like that, is because I'm processing all this shame and guilt that for a long time I was just in denial of even having. I didn't even
Sure.
want
Well.
to. I
Mm.
didn't even want to admit that. It was like, oh no, no, that's fine. I did this to myself, and that's totally fine. But deep down, I'm like, I feel shitty about it, and I'm sitting here just trying to pretend like everything's okay and I'm strong and
You
I'm
have to
fine.
understand too. You have to understand too. Now that I've gone through it and I've admitted it and all that stuff, especially you and me,
Hmm.
um, we have to be. We did what we did. But we got to. Yeah. We got to.
Well,
You got to accept it. I mean, you're
well, I'm
doing
at a
what you.
point.
You're well. I believe you're doing so bloody well. I mean, you know.
Well, I'm doing a lot freaking better, that's for sure. Like I'm at a point
Mm.
now where I'm accepting of my actions and behaviors. I'm accepting of the fact that, like I put myself in that situation. I'm also the one that decided this is done, this is over. Like when I was given a choice, like I'm going to call you frantically and you can keep lying for me and we can keep this friendship going and like everything's good, or what I did, which was like, no, I'm going to be honest. And I think you should be honest too. And I'm not going to fucking lie for you anymore. And if that means our friendship's over, then our friendship's over. And the whole thing was over. So it was like,
There's a lot
I
more to the
took
twin
control
flame
of
in that
that
way, though, Sarah.
situation. I took control of that situation and I'm very
Yeah.
proud. And I fully accept that it could have gone a multitude of different ways. Like, and
Mm.
just being okay with this is how it went down, bringing acceptance and love to myself and like patience, because every single day, like I thought I would be over this by now, to be honest with you, but I still think about it every day. Even if I don't want to, even if it's not for a long time, it
Yeah,
comes into my
but
field.
but
But
don't
knowing
hold
that
yourself
I'm
down.
I'm able to process it. I'm able to be patient with myself and be kind and courteous to myself when I'm going through these periods of shame and guilt, and knowing that as much as it sucks that it turned out the way that it did, everything happens for a reason. Um, all of this must have been part of our karmic journey in some way, shape, or form. And even if I don't understand it now, and I
You
don't
will.
feel like this was the way that it should be, it could be the most profound life-changing experience for the other people involved. And just knowing that being okay with the way that things play out is the way that the universe is has aligned for you to go through the lessons that you need to learn
That's
in this
right.
lifetime. And not holding a grudge against that. And not holding a grudge against yourself for following through on that. And just going, like, being okay with yourself to go with the flow, be like, that's how it happened. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm getting better and better at being okay with it every single day. Um, and like just being okay that you don't have to heal from this overnight. You don't like, giving yourself that grace and that leeway to be like, you're still hurting about this and that's okay. And like, you still feel shame about this and that's okay. And like
Mm.
just loving the parts of yourself that still feel that shame and that guilt and just letting yourself know that it's okay to feel this way. And just giving yourself the love and patience and sort of reparenting the parts of yourself that like made you think it was okay to be in that situation in the first place. And that's what I've had to do. Is like
Mm.
what in my life, what in my subconscious mind brought me to the point where that was all okay. And that made me do that. And looking at the parts of myself that felt safe in those situations and then giving those parts of myself love because they fucking needed it. That's why I was in the toxic situation in the first place. I was just looking for love. I was
Well, this is
looking
what
for
it is. Well,
that.
we know what it is because we were in it. And the thing is, with what we went through, there obviously there's deeper parts to it. So now we understand exactly what we went through. We can say, all right, the other person does have a particular part to play in it as well. In
Yeah.
that in twin flame situation, but if you look at it where I'm out of it, I'm looking above. This is what we have to say, as Aaron Doherty always says: let go, and the answers will come. Let go and start working on yourself, and let go and look deeper in yourself, which you have. As I said, I can see white light around both of you. You both look so much different from 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And that is the bloody
If you go
positive.
back on the videos on the Life Theory series, if you even go back to even the first one or the seventh one, like just see.
I think that we've got, look, at the end of the day, we can say we've gone through what we've gone through, and you went through for so long, but there's deeper messages that the universe are giving us and the lessons that we're doing, that they've gone, you have to go through this because, and if you talk, as I said, I'm going on the twin flame one very soon. If it comes down to romantic relationships with twin flames and soulmates and karmic partners, that's next level, man. That is next level. And being a bigger person in some ways to understand, you've got to just detach and understand and go through what you have to do. And the universe goes, yes, here you go, little boy or little girl. You'll be right. Walk through. Don't worry, I've got your hand. Trust me. Just trust me. Just do it. Do it. You'll be fine. And that's what and that's what I'm learning to do. It's bloody hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's bloody hard. There you go. I said bloody twice.
It's bloody hard. Bloody hard.
Yeah. Well, it is bloody hard. Like I'm
Kangaroos and jumping.
We
Every
sound
Kangaroos
weird
and jumping.
saying bloody hard.
Thank you very much for this toxic episode of Life Theories. I mean that in the most positive way. Remember, even you got that toxicity, bring it out. Find the friends. Friends will help you. Trust me. Just trust yourself to walk through the door and jump like Tarzan did in that film. So you can find us. You can find Trailblazers of the Universe everywhere on the internet. Everywhere. TikTok, Facebook,
Everywhere.
Instagram, in a galaxy far away, wherever it may be.
We're here.
She will be there. This is Diana. So look at that one. And you've got Small Sarah Big Soul. She's everywhere too. She's like Raven from Titans. Look at her smile. Look at her. She loves it. You can find
on my
Small
altar.
Sarah Big Soul on Instagram, TikTok,
I changed my name on
Facebook as well.
Instagram. They're gonna hate me.
Not Facebook. Sorry.
I'm changing my name.
Oh.
That's all right. That's okay.
I'm now, just so you guys know, I'm still Small Sarah Big Soul on TikTok. On Instagram, I am now Big Soul Healing. I will be changing it to Big Soul Healing across the board.
Okay.
So for right now,
You have to
you
get
can
it
still
right,
find
Jay.
me.
It's gonna take you a while to get it right to get that one.
I know, I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
You just got it. You
I'm
finally
not
got
saying
it
it's a
right.
big
And I was
deal.
like, as I was changing it, I'm like, Jay's gonna be so upset.
No,
Like,
not really. I'll be right. It only took me
it'll be
6 months,
fine.
12 months,
It'll be
3 years.
fine.
It's all good. Anyway,
But yeah,
so we've got the
so
big fella Cortez Medford over in England, Spiritual Needs TV. Find him everywhere. All right. He'll talk about semen retention and all those other things that he loves talking about. Oh, it's good though. So we're all there, and also for myself, White Warrior Health at White Warrior Health. There you go. So I'll be I do my journey of a white feather on YouTube. That just stopped, but I'm doing a lot more on TikTok these days. So I'll be on. I think I'm White Warrior Health Journey on TikTok. So you see on my when I get inspired, I do a few quotes, and also I'll give a big shout out to my co-host on the Twin Flames podcast, Jackie Lyons, Akashic Readings. I can't remember her handle at the moment because I'm bloody hopeless. But anyway, we'll be
Jackie's
on
so
very, very
sweet.
soon live on TikTok in about an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for Live Theories this week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We might even we'll definitely talk about Aussie slang very soon. And we hope to see you soon. Take care, be your best. And remember, if you have any issues with you or you're going through something, always talk to someone because, it doesn't matter if you talk about it. It is very healing for what you do. Take care from the Life Theories crew. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.
Bye.